We are Fox. We are MC.
This is what you tell yourself. The pressure's on Boxberger, not me.
There's a drive. Deep to left field. Paulo. Done. Academy Sports and Outdoors presents Royals Baseball. Tonight is Game 2 of this doubleheader between the Tampa Bay Rays and your Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler here for Game 2 of this doubleheader, a split doubleheader. And Hud, all I got to say is after watching that highlight, what do we do for an encore?
I don't know, but waking up this morning, I had to pinch myself. We had 2 Royals games to go to and to talk about. Very exciting finish. They got the first game. See if they can get the second one.
Well, let's see it again. Our AT&T U-verse rewind.
Oh, Paulo Orlando. Look at, he could tell he was up there hunting a pitch he could get. Boxberger threw him a changeup, got the back underside, and his first career grand slam and walk-off. Pretty special moment for Paulo. Not a lot of time to relish on it. They got this game coming up, but man, oh man, it's Eddie Volquez's turn.
How about that? The first time he comes up with the bases loaded, he hits it out. And Eddie Volquez will pitch for Kansas City against the Tampa Bay Rays when we come back.
Game and fans can get Mike Moustakas in one of 5 final vote candidates. You can just text A5 to 89269 to vote Moose. It is that simple. Hashtag vote Moose. It's all over the ballpark. Heck, we even have this here. We got, yeah, we're doing our part. We got the Vote Moose signs going, and you know what, Monty? I mean, we know how good Moose has been. I'm just going to text it in right now. A5, boom. I just voted live on TV. How about it?
I did it 4 times during the pregame show.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, well, you're ahead of me, but I'll try to catch up on that one. So Mike Moustakas trying to get him into the All-Star game. Edinson Volquez trying to get him another win. He leads the team in that category. What are you expecting tonight?
Well, I'm expecting what we've seen all year long from Edinson Volquez. Last 11 starts, the Royals are 9-2 in those starts, but he just goes out and throws strikes. He's really cut his walks down over the last 4 seasons, been better every year, coming off a great year in Pittsburgh. He's continued that business here in Kansas City. It's a welcome sign for these Royals.
And on a year where the bullpen's done great, the rotation, they're needing more innings. Volquez has led this rotation in the innings department. Almost always a smile on his face, always calm and cool. He's walking in right now. First pitch is coming up next at Kauffman Stadium.
High-speed internet, the U-verse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By your local Kansas City Chevy dealers. Come visit for great prices on all new 2015 Chevy vehicles. And by Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Well, Kansas City's 25-15 at home this year, taking on a Rays team that's averaging 3 runs per game their last 15. John Jaso will be their leadoff hitter. Rex, in his first game this year, he walked, went to second base, slid in, and injured his thumb, missed the next 84 games. He's hoping his next start will go better.
Well, we sure hope so for him too. It's very difficult to help your team when you're in the tub, but believe me, he's good. He got a pinch hit in game 1, made a big difference.
And here is Edinson Volquez. You see his numbers at 8-4, 3.48 ERA, and he'll likely go over 100 innings on this evening's game because he's a guy who has been working 5-6 into the 7th inning.
Yep, you know, that 228 average is good. That's low. He's been able to deal. Keeping the ball in the yard has been the thing for him. He gave up a few in his last outing, but he's going to get some help out there with Paulo Orlando, who started in center field in game 1. Now he's your right fielder in game 2. And hard to repeat what he did in game 1, but you know, when you're hot, you're hot. Maybe he'll continue to drive that Royals bus.
Lorenzo Cain is available, but Ned Yost wanted to give him the entire day off to rest that little tweak in his hamstring. So Orlando, very capable right fielder. And the first pitch to Jaso is fouled off, strike one.
Two-seamer at 94. Excellent run on that pitch. Got a four-seamer he'll throw up in the top of the strike zone when he's ahead to try to get a swing and miss. Fastball averages at 93. Curveball, excellent downward bite. Changeup, same thing. Good downward movement. Pitches to contact very well.
And left-handers only batting .208 against him. And Jaso, you can see that wide open stance, and then he'll dive into the pitch. Hits that one well to left center field, and it will split the gap. Gordon gets to it quickly and fires it into Alcides Escobar, but Jaso has now been up 3 times this year. He has walked in 1 plate appearance and has hits in the other 2.
Yeah, nice job of looking up in the strike zone. He got a pitch that stayed underneath or inside of it and is able to drop it right out there. That two-seamer was right in the middle. Jaso, they really need some offensive production, and Jaso can bring that, especially the fact that he's getting hot. He's 2 for his last 2, going back to that pinch hit he got in game 1.
Yeah, the Rays have lost 8 of their last 9 games, and they've been out-homered 14-4 in that stretch with an ERA over 7. Grady Sizemore had a dreadful first game, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts, and the last 2 in critical situations.
Well, he knows what to do here and try to pull that ball over the right side. Volquez try to keep that ball away from him. He knows the situation.
Sizemore, a veteran, 32 years of age, but just nagged by countless injuries throughout his career, most notably his back, his knee. 1-0 is swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now, you talked about Eddie Volquez in his great average against left-handers, 208. Righties is 253. Does a good job of keeping the ball down. All of his pitches move in that direction. That two-seamer, though, he'll start that at the hip of the left-hander, and it comes back for a strike.
Well, he's working Sizemore away, and he's gone back-to-back off-speed pitches, 1 and 2.
There they are. Changeup really is his go-to pitch when he needs to. With a runner in scoring position like now, we'll see if he comes back with another one.
Yeah, I thought he really had good stuff early in that Houston game, particularly with that two-seam fastball that he'd throw at a left-hander's hip, and then it would run back and catch the inside corner, but struggled in the 4th and 5th. The 1-2 pitch is a bit outside with a fastball at 94. He did receive a no decision in that loss to Houston 6-5. Gave up 5 runs in 5 innings and allowed 2 home runs in the game. Solo shots by Chris Carter and Marwin Gonzalez. To left field. Gordon goes back. Jaso's going to tag. Better not go. And he does finally put the brakes on. He's won 4 Gold Gloves out there in left field, and a lot of it has to do with his accuracy on his throws.
And the fact that he only has 3 outfield assists this year, and that's because nobody runs on him.
Yeah.
Jaso, he's feeling a little frisky. He gets back to the bag thinking he can do. Oh, man, he charged hard. Good deke, but it's a good thing because he might have been burnt toast.
Don't run on that, Cornhusker.
Yeah.
And now Evan Longoria. He went 1 for 5 in game 1, including his 9th home run of the year. Hooked one out and over into the Royals bullpen. KC won 9-5 on Paulo Orlando's grand slam. Longoria with a 5-game hit streak to up his average to 276.
That type of movement down with his changeup, he gets a lot of guys to top it, especially the righties and lefties. He moves that away from him, but he's good curveball that works down. Ball just kind of stayed down in and stayed up enough to where he could get up underneath it.
But it almost looked like that breaking ball that usually goes down and away from a right-hander backed up.
Like it could have.
Now a 2-1 count to Longoria, who has 37 driven in this year.
The Rays in game 1 were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Orioles pitchers doing a great job of executing their pitches when they need to.
And all three relievers really were fantastic when they had to make pitches. Herrera in the 7th with 2 key strikeouts. Davis in the 8th with a critical strikeout for out number 3. And even after Greg Holland gave up the tying run, Greg battled back well to keep it tied. Gave Orlando a chance for his heroics. On the hands of Longoria, 3-2.
Longo 3 for 9 in his career with 1 double off of Volquez. Got him a pitch. It was up and it was a little bit inside. Set up pitch for this next one coming, 3-2. See what he throws. He's confident with all 3 pitches.
Out of play. The Rays are one of baseball's better teams on the road. They're 22-15 this year. Coming into the series, they had the highest winning percentage on the road at 61%, and then they lost, of course, in game 1 of this split doubleheader.
New skipper in town, Kevin Cash. Joe Madden went to the Cubs, and he took his bench coach Dave Martinez with him.
Last year, Cash was the bullpen coach for Cleveland and Terry Francona. Chops one to Cuthbert at third. That's a nice play, and he gets him.
Made the right decision. Chopper like that, you got to come get it. Longoria, he's not that slow, so that's a nice play. First time we've seen him make a play. I don't think they hit it to him at all in the first game. They threw it to him. He almost got a good tag on Kiermaier on that triple he hit. Come and get it. Throw it on the run. That was his first chance as a big leaguer.
Chaso still at second base, unable to advance. Here is James Loney. Good game with a double and a home run. And hitting .360 his last 15 games, and takes just a bit low, ball 1. Well, Eddie Volquez likes Kauffman Stadium. He is 5-2 at the K this year. Only Dallas Keuchel, Felix Hernandez, and Drew Hutchison have more home wins this year in the American League. That's our Toyota League leaders. Salvi was thinking about throwing to second base as the pitch is wide of the mark.
Yeah, Escobar tried to sneak in behind Jaso over there. Salvi couldn't get a good grip. They all know the scouting report on Salvador Perez, Gold Glover. He throws behind every single base.
Loney sends it to right, but right at Paulo Orlando. And that will do it. Fine job by Volquez. Gives up a leadoff double, then gets the next 3 Rays. games over Minnesota, who is hosting Baltimore tonight. Detroit is 6 games back. They're at Seattle facing Taijuan Walker, and here's Escobar to lead things off. Gordon moving to the 2 spot because of Mike Moustakas on the family emergency list. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with the Moustakas family at this time. So Kendry Morales will go 3, Hosmer 4, and then Salvador Perez. Orlando, he had the clutch hit in game 1.
Just finding a way to get it done. Doesn't matter who's in there or not. The Royals, they seem to feed off of one another. They hope it continues against the rookie, Matt Andriese.
He is 3-2, and his last start went quite well. But it was back on June 27th, and right after the game he threw a 1-hit shutout through 6 innings, and they sent him to the minor leagues. He needed offensive help, and Andriese had options.
He's got a low 3/4 arm slot, you can see. Kind of throws across his body a little bit. Got some long arm action. Could be some deception there for the hitter. 90 to 94 with his cutter fastball. And he doesn't walk very many, although the count's 3-0 here. In 41 2/3 innings, just 7 walks. So he's pretty much been a strike thrower. It's hard to walk Escobar.
Walked in game 1. And he will walk to open game 2. Because you're right, Hud, he has issued 1.5 walks per 9 innings, which would rank 4th in the American League if he qualified. And here's a look at the Rays defense.
Okay, I tell you, that left side of the infield with Longoria and Cabrera, they've been really good. They are almost airtight defensively. They haven't made very many errors at all. As a matter of fact, they're at the top of the league in least amount of errors on the left side. Casale, he's the catcher. He's thrown out 19% of runners this year with a little bit of help. We'll see what Escobar has in mind out there as a base stealer. He's got 5 steals, been caught twice.
He has a little higher leg kick than some of the right-handed pitchers we've seen for the Rays in the past, but still he's pretty quick home, giving Casale a chance. Rene Rivera, much better catch and throw guy than Casale at this stage in their careers.
Ground ball pitcher with that arm angle, tries to keep that sinker down in there. And you know, he'll use a curveball. He also has a slider and an occasional changeup, but the cutter and slider, he'll use those a lot to complement that sinking fastball. Cutter breaks maybe 2-3 inches. Sliders has a little more depth to it. We'll be able to tell.
Escobar 5 steals in 7 attempts. And we should also congratulate Alex Gordon, who moved into 10th in the RBI list in Royals history, passing the great Willie Wilson. Alex with now 510. He had 2 RBIs in game 1, was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded, and then would later homer to tie the game. Check swing, did not go.
Andriese 6'3", 215. Young rookie. Speaking of rookies, the Rays have used a Major League most 16 rookies this season. That's tied a club record, 0-1 and 11.
Down the line, fielded nicely by Loney. He goes and throws it wildly into left field. They may have a play at third, but they turn it down, and Escobar goes all the way to third on Loney's mistake.
Well, they'll take it. Alex Gordon almost got it under Loney's glove. Loney's sitting right on the base, and he made an ill-advised attempt to throw when he was on his knees, and was able to move Escobar into sacrifice scoring position over there. Less than 2 outs. Loney says, "Rats, why'd I do that?"
And now that will draw the infield in, and Kendry Morales looking for RBI number 55. And he hits that one sharply, but right at the second baseman, and Camo is out number 2.
First pitch, it looked good to him. Hit it hard. Right at Logan Forsythe.
Now Eric Hosmer. He only went 1 for 5 in game 1, but that one hit was awfully big. It started the Royals rally in the 9th inning. Hud, he took a low changeup that wasn't a strike, stayed with it, singled up the middle, and that started the Royals offense in that walk-off 9th inning. 0-2. Eric, 316 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. He has Escobar at third base. Royals loaded the bases in game 1 with nobody out in the first inning and did not score.
Hosmer, you talked about that hit to get it going in game 1 of the 9th. There it was. He was a little off balance. See how his backside flew out. But he's able to stick it, stay right up the middle with it. Got the rally started. Back-to-back fastballs now here from Andres. Threw the first one by Haas. Thought he could get the second one by him. We'll see what happens here. 0-2.
Well, Andres staying inside. We're seeing a lot of opponents do that to Haas.
Well, they don't want him to get his arms extended. He does a lot of damage to the opposite field.
Hosmer and Moustakas, 2 of the left-handed leaders in most hits to the opposite field this year in the American League. And then, of course, they'll throw that breaking ball down and in to Hosmer.
Every pitching staff that faces the Royals know it's an aggressive offense. You can get them to swing out of the strike zone sometimes.
But they have the fewest strikeouts this year. Don't walk much, but they are aggressive. And Andres stays aggressive, goes upstairs with the heat and strikes out Eric, and the Royals leave Escobar at third base. Student Night and Local Music Showcase presented by Inc. Magazine. And they have great live music from local Kansas City bands. Student Night returns tomorrow against the Rays, featuring music from Josh Berwanger Band. Get your tickets now for just $8 at the box office or at royals.com/student night.
Little slight drizzle of rain coming down here at the K.
little lighter than last night.
Slightly.
I mean, we have a lot of people who have been working here for 4 decades who have never been asked to go down to the second floor tunnel, and we were last night. Tornado conditions in the area. Thank goodness everything worked out just fine. Here's Logan Forsythe. He was 1 for 3 with a walk in game 1. Has a batting average of .281 with 8 home runs. In there. 2-1.
Fizz, I've never been here in my short 4 years at 5 o'clock when it was pitch black outside.
Oh, it was crazy.
That's batting practice
We
time.
had several Royals coming out with us during in the dugout just to take a look at the gray skies.
I saw a little green too early before the rain came, and I said, uh-oh, that doesn't look right. Oh.
Down the line. Forsythe will get a 2-base hit for the second straight inning. The Rays come up with a leadoff double.
I'll tell you, that was a line hugger. Kept his hands inside. He didn't hook it with his top hand. Sometimes when you're dominant with that hand, it'll hook it by, but stayed fair right over that bag. More work for Eddie Volquez. Third base umpire having to get out of the way.
Now is Asdrubal Cabrera, and you would think that the Rays might be determined to play small ball to try and at least get the runner to third base. Cabrera has had tremendous success in this ballpark and against Kansas City in his career, and he's faced the Royals a lot, particularly as a shortstop for the Cleveland Indians for many years. Overall only a .225 average, but at the K, .354. Well, back.
If they're letting him swing away.
.352 because he did strike out in game 1, so his average went down to 2 points.
Well, the first inning when Jaso hit the leadoff double, Grady Sizemore flew out to left field. Wants to be able to get the job done here if at all possible. That means move that runner to third base. Even on an out, try to get that guy a little bit closer with less than 2.
And so Volquez came in with the breaking ball, pulled foul 1 and 2.
Asdrubal Cabrera in his career against Volquez, 3 for 8, 1 homer.
Again knocked foul. It stays 1 and 2. And interestingly about Volquez, this is his 4th start ever against the Tampa Bay Rays, but it's the 4th different uniform he's also worn. He faced the Rays as a member of the Cincinnati Reds, then later as a member of the San Diego Padres, last year with the Pirates, and this year of course with the Royals. So 4 starts with 4 different uniforms. Good numbers. His last was June 23rd of last year. Gave up 1 earned run in 8 innings. Check swing. Appeal. No.
It's Marcus Patillo, third base coach, or excuse me, third base umpire. No Tim Welke. Tim Welke, 32 years as an umpire. He probably in his contract says, I'm not doing double headers. So he's not out there. Hope that's the reason.
Cabrera chases one in the dirt, unable to advance. Forsythe from second base to third, and Volquez gets a big strikeout in the second.
Talked about how his curveball, changeup, and 2-seamer all have a little bit of downward movement, especially that curve. That started out belt high, ended up in the dirt. It's got some good depth to that breaker.
Now Brandon Guyer did not play in the first game. He is an outfielder who plays at times. He's not an everyday player, and only 2 hits in his last 18 at bats. Volquez steps off.
It's a little inside move to freeze Forsythe, who was looking like he was thinking about stealing.
He's 7 for 9 stealing bases this year. Well, Geyer does crowd the plate. He's been hit 11 times, and he was tied with Alex Gordon for the league lead until Alex was hit on the right wrist in game 1. And that hit by pitch so pained Gordon that the next at bat he hit a home run.
Yeah, glad to see there's no problems there. That was his surgically repaired wrist in the offseason.
Volquez falling behind these Rays early. Geyer moves up in the box. In there, 2-1.
It's a nice little two-seam movement on that fastball. Geyer thought it was up, but it caught the top part of the zone. Tim Timmons behind home plate.
Good pitch. He went right after him with the fastball in at 94, and that will even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. He struck out Cabrera on a breaking ball down and in on that left-handed batter.
Stayed with that same previous pitch there, the two-seamer up. Movement into the righty. We'll see who tries to get him away here. Salvi might just stay with that same pitch.
You know, his fastball has a lot of run on it, and it was heading towards the heart of the plate and ran in on Logan Forsythe when he doubled down the left field line. This time, this one had a little more movement to get strike 2 on Brandon Geyer.
Let's take a look at the pitch to Forsythe. Same type of action. The ball was off the plate, but he was quick in there. He was ready for it.
Didn't get him to chase.
See, trying to stay on top of that curveball makes that ball dip like that.
Will he throw it on 3-2? Changeup fouled off.
And a little out in front.
So Geyer in the last 3 pitches has seen 3 different pitches.
And he's getting his money's worth. It's so hard to hit, you know, and get hits. That's why, you know, the best hitters in the world all are 300, but they're making out 7 times out of 10. So it's not easy, but if you can see as many pitches as you can first time around, you like your chances second and third time. He's got a good AB going.
Fastball ran up and in, and he walks him. First walk by Eddie, and his 34th this year, as he's getting close to 100 innings on the season. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag KCDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Rain beginning to fall here at the K. Good crowd on hand. Game 2 of this series. Royals won the first of this split doubleheader 9-5. Kevin Kiermaier. Ball 1.
Kiermaier will be tough to double up. He only grounded into 3 this year. But Volquez, he's induced 8 ground balls so far this season. He does a nice job pitching to that defense. See if he could get out of the inning here with 1 pitch.
Just does graze the corner.
Perfectly located for the changeup. Great spot. Kiermaier swings at that. He's going to roll over and top it, hit a ground ball somewhere. Out from the left side, and the way he runs, like I said, it won't be easy. You'll have to hit it hard at somebody to get him on a double play.
I remember you and I were doing a game years ago, and Ichiro had gone like a year and a half without grounding into a double play. We had just brought it up. He hit it directly at the second baseman, who went 4-6-3 double play.
Yeah, we were saying there, well, there's no way they'll double play him. Put him in the lane. He's too good. next pitch, whack, right at him. And never know in baseball.
Volquez working behind just about every hitter thus far. But back in the count at 2-2. The Rays have always been a patient team. I shouldn't say always, but under the Joe Madden era, the last 5 years of Joe's tenure as their manager, he was determined to turn the Rays into a more patient hitting team. And he showed in the stats of the Boston Red Sox, who had won the World Championship the previous year, and how many more pitches they saw than the Rays. In the air left side, Gordon will give chase, but it's well beyond his reach.
Fizz, you know, a lot of fans here, no question, but this is one of the biggest fans, Art Stewart. Look, this rain doesn't mess with him one bit. And as much experience as this man has in the game of baseball, he'll tell you he still sees something every day that he's never seen before in this game. And he constantly is learning. And the rest of us, we all are in the same boat. Continuing to learn about this grand game.
Kiermaier swings and misses, and that's out number 2.
41 pitches, though. They're milking that pitch count. He's having to use a lot of them, a lot of pitches to get through these guys here in just the first 2 innings. More than he'd want to. He'd like some earlier contact if possible.
And particularly when the Royals used their bullpen for 3 2/3 in that last inning, or it was the last 3 innings of Herrera, Davis, and Holland, 7, 8, and 9, that loved to have Volquez go deep. Here is Curt Casale, 26 years old, out of Vanderbilt. Great baseball school. We're in the College World Series this year. And strike 1. Casale, a 10th round pick in 2011 out of Vandy. Comes from a sports family. His dad, Lou, was a quarterback at Columbia years ago. His brother is playing college baseball right now back east. And there with a strike. 0-2. So Volquez has jumped ahead. We talked about how he was falling behind 1-0, 2-1 to the earlier Rays. Overthrew that fastball.
You don't see Volquez do that very often. He really understands where he is at this particular time in his career. There was a time when he had Ventura stuff where he would throw, through a wall, 98, 99. But now he's understanding about pitching and not throwing and using that defense.
Much like Ventura, his hero growing up, Pedro Martinez. Just did get a piece of it. Sally's still around.
It's just missed Salvador his fingers on his right hand.
we will see Yordano Ventura on Thursday. Good to see him back with the big league club after a couple of rehab starts down in the minor leagues. They will need him desperately second half. Got him.
Great job of pitching out of trouble with the runner in scoring position for the second time.
Don't go away, fans, because the hero of Game 1 will bat second when we come back. Paulo Orlando and gone. Those are the 4 Royals who were elected to the All-Star game next Tuesday in Cincinnati. You can watch on Fox. Perez, the catcher. Escobar will start at short, and the outfield, Gordon in left, Kane in right field, with Mike Trout, of course, of the Angels, playing center for Ned Yost's team. And here is Salvi. He did not play Game 1. Drew Butera caught a terrific game and helped the Royals to a 9-5 victory. Now Salvi gets his turn.
Royals fans did an outstanding job this season. I mean, we started pushing the All-Star game in May. I mean, we were working it, and the fans were on it, and they were really, really helpful. Now let's get this guy in.
Vote Moose. There's a ball struck to the left side. The shortstop with an accurate throw, Asdrubal Cabrera, 1 out.
Talk about Andriese with a little crossfire action to him. He steps a little bit towards that visiting dugout and then comes right across. It looks like he's got a little cross arm action, kind of a low 3/4. Sometimes that arm angle can help you sink that ball. The sinker.
And here's the star of Game 1, Paulo Orlando. He takes strike 1.
That's a nice cutter there.
You were talking in Game 1 how Boxberger was really throwing so many changeups, almost too many changeups, and Orlando saw one that he liked.
Oh, because he saw the previous hitters before him. And so when you're in that on-deck circle and you're in the dugout, you watch the guy and you pick up some tendencies and you can see what he's doing to your opponents and visualize. And then when you get up there, you can look for that pitch, and he did. He got it too. Game winner. What a dramatic homer. See Boxberger holding that circle change, turned it over just in the right spot. That ball sped his bat up, and he barreled it. Second career homer.
First at Kauffman Stadium. Well, he will swing and miss here and go down on strikes. Foul tip it into the glove of the catcher, Curt Casale. Very quickly, 2 outs here in the second inning.
And you know, when you have never seen a pitcher before, we talked about Andres being a rookie. So nobody in the Royals have ever faced him before, at least in the big leagues here that we know of. And the more pitches you can see, the better off you're going to be for the next time. Try to see as many as you can. Because you can watch all the video you want, but when you're in there live, it's different.
Infante had a good first game, 2 for 4. He's hitting .310 since the middle of June. And he sends that one up the middle and into center field just by Cabrera. Royals get their first hit of the game.
That's the same part of the field that Infante used last game. First time up, right back up the middle. This ball was hit on top, and so it had topspin. Second bounce was able to get by Cabrera. Ball was elevated right over the middle of the plate. See how that topspin gets generated? One, and then by the time that second time, it's gone. You can't get it.
So we had a chance to see the major league debut of Cheslor Cuthbert in game 1. He went 1 for 4. So here he goes in game 2. Dusty Coleman coming off the bench. Dusty plays more positions, and the first pitch is swung on and skied to right field. Brandon Guyer backs up, makes the catch. That does it for the Royals in the second. No runs, a hit, man left. 0-0 our score. Chris Medlin, and he is coming back from Tommy John surgery, his second. He is the story of our University of Kansas Hospital injury report. On Sunday he went 6 innings, allowed 5 hits, and talked to him about that effort, and he said he still does not have the command where he wants it, nor his consistency, but his stuff is there. There are times he'll go 90, other times 94, 95, and Ned Yost, Dayton Moore saying he could be a part of the Royals in the second half of the season.
Well, I'm hoping he's got 5 wins in him at least.
Well, my goodness.
Down the stretch.
I just want him to be healthy, because how many guys come back from 2 Tommy Johns? And that's why I really like the Royals being ultra conservative with Medlin.
And they will be. But look, I can't help it. I mean, I think he's got 5 wins in him.
Okay.
At least.
One day at a time. Other good news, Kyle Zimmer threw 2 shutout innings last night. And he has not been healthy in his Royals professional tenure. But Kyle, 2 shutout innings for Northwest Arkansas. He now has given up just 2 earned runs in 20 innings. And fans, believe me, if that guy stays healthy, he's really going to be good. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Outside corner. Jaso doubled his first time up. As a matter of fact, the Rays have led off each of the first 2 innings with doubles and unable to advance those guys. That ball is not a double. And Jaso has been up 4 times this year. He has 1 walk and 3 hits.
And he's hot. Be careful with him now. I mean, he's already gotten 2 hits in the series, 1 off the bench in the first game, and now he hit a double to lead off the game. Now he homers. 2-seamer. Started on the inner half and stayed out over the plate just a tad, enough for Jaso to get around on it. Yeah, a little funky leg cock that he has right there, but then there's a nice little good balance on his swing. He's able to help get his team the lead. Good swing.
Well, much like game 1, the Rays took the lead on a home run by James Loney in the 2nd inning, but the Royals came back with 3 in their half of the 2nd, where the Rays tied it up and then eventually would take the lead. Royals rallied on Gordon's home run to tie it. Finally, the Royals won it on the walk-off grand slam by Paulo Orlando. 1-1 to Sizemore, and he pulls it to the right side. Infante. 1 out. Royals fans, come enjoy a night at the ballpark this Friday as the Royals take on the Blue Jays. The first 5,000 fans to the gates receive a mystery gift card with great discounts to Rally House, and 1 lucky fan will win up to $1,000 to be redeemed at any Metro Rally House location. Gates are scheduled to open at 5:30. Get your tickets today at Royals.com or by calling 1-800-6-ROYALS. Good curve in there, strike 1. Longoria grounded out to 3rd, first time up. The Rays at 43-42 started the day 2.5 games back of 2 games back of New York. Now they're 2.5 back after losing game 1. There's a smash to Infante. 2 outs.
We saw Volquez use his fastball more in Houston, and he's got good velocity. The 2-seam movement's really good, and sometimes though you can get in trouble with that fastball if it's not located exactly where you want it.
Threw a lot of pitches in that 2nd inning, and would like to get out in 12 to 15 pitches of the 3rd after Jaso hit the leadoff home run. Here is James Loney, the veteran out of Houston, Texas. Ball 1. Loney flied out to right field to end the 1st. A 3-0 count on Loney. Everybody in the American League Central busy on this Tuesday night. Just did graze the outside corner, 3-1. Cleveland and Corey Kluber have a 1-0 lead on Houston and Velazquez. The White Sox and Toronto are tied at 1 in the 3rd. Minnesota, though, has a 3-0 lead over Baltimore with Gibson on the mound. And there's ball 4. Second walk issued by Volquez.
steady rain still coming down here, and if it continues like this, it kind of makes the field a little bit sloppy, a little bit. Conditions can be a little bit hard to perform, especially for outfielders trying to run down baseballs that are hit high in the air. The raindrops, you know, the distraction of the water falling off the bill of the hitter's hat. Sometimes it'll take your focus away, and hitters are hoping for the most part that pitchers are able to get their grip so they don't slip off there and hit them. Ball's wet to the infielders when they get it. Outfielders.
And the Royals more comfortable in this environment than the Rays, because the Rays play indoors.
See the super slow motion. You see the drops. And, you know, just baseball is not meant to play in damp weather or wet weather, because of the ball that's being hurled up there at 95 to 100 miles an hour at times can be very dangerous.
The Royals have suffered 4 rainouts this year. The Rays only 1, and it was yesterday's rainout with Kansas City. Dave Island, at one time a member of the Rays. You know, we were talking about Chris Medlin, 2 Tommy John surgeries. Dave Island also suffered 2 Tommy Johns.
And I didn't know that until you were reading that today.
Upstairs, 3-0. Three and 1. He walked Loney on a 3-1 count. Gets back in the count to make it 3-1 with Logan Forsythe. Just 4 hits in his last 29 at bats. Rays really struggling offensively lately. Runner goes. The pitch is taken. It's a strike, and Sal does not make the throw. It's a steal for James Loney.
It's his 2nd steal of the season. They weren't expecting him to go, and Salvador couldn't get a grip, or else he would have made an attempt from his knees. Right away, Salvador Perez shook his head, said, "I'm good, I'm good." Home plate umpire looked at him, Tim Timmons, as they know that what a shock that is, but those steel bars and that old style mask that he's wearing has really helped him this season. No more of those titanium. They're too light. They don't absorb the blow.
A swing and a miss, and Volquez gets out of more damage in the 3rd. He does allow a leadoff home run by John Jaso, and the Rays take the early 1-0 lead on Kansas City. dynamic leader in the healthcare arena. Hill is dedicated to serving the needs of individuals who are in need of healthcare and supportive services through her current and past roles in healthcare organizations, including serving as the CEO of Samuel U. Rogers Health Center. She ensures that public policy is formed in a manner that resonates a call to action, and that social justice is in the hearts and minds of those who can help.
Yes, Hilda, thank you for what you do. Glad you could make it tonight. Glad to see you got the rain gear on.
Gerard Dyson will lead things off. 14 for his last 33, and he chops this one, but Loney has it and wins the race. 1 out. So now we turn over the lineup, and let's see how the Royals do against Andri's second time through. But historically, he has not done well after facing 9. First time through 149, second time through about 250 points higher.
Well, I hope that's the case.
But that is history. And history means nothing unless you deal with the right now. And let's see how Escobar takes a breaking ball in the outside corner for strike 1. Esky walked his first time up, 14th walk this year.
Andri's has settled down since that first walk to Escobar to lead off the game. He's pretty much a strike thrower. We talked about how efficient he's been in his few starts. Fastball, cutter, slider, curve, and a change. He's got it all, and he'll use them all.
Andri's not used to pitching in rain. He grew up in Southern California at Redlands. Drafted by San Diego, 3rd round in 2011 out of UC Riverside, where he played with his brother David. Down low. 3-1. Could Escobar experience 2 walks in 1 game?
And back-to-back plate appearances?
It could happen.
I doubt it. Base hit up the middle.
Rats. Well, he hit it right on the screws, but right at the left fielder, Grady Sizemore. Our Honda most trusted player, Alex Gordon, he certainly had a terrific game 1, went 3 for 4 with a home run.
And this was after he got hit in his wrist that he had surgery on in the offseason, so nice to see it didn't affect him any. He put it in the hydration station.
Alex shot one down the right field line first time up, but it was fielded by James Loney, who immediately touched first base, but from his back he decided to get the lead man Escobar at second base and threw it wildly into left field. Escobar went to 3rd with 1 out, but the Royals unable to get him home. That will be a base hit. And even though they had played him to pull with 3 on the right side, 1 on the left, he fires it right past the third baseman.
Right. You know, Alex stepped in the box and he saw Longoria sitting there, the only guy on the left side of the infield. He says, you know, if he throws me away, I'm going to take a shot at it. Sure enough, he gave him something nice on the outer half. Just went with it.
What's the key to going to the opposite field?
Waiting. You have to wait. You want the same swing as you have on a pitch that you pull, but you have to wait 2-3 clicks longer and then put the same swing on, and you'll have the same results to the opposite field. It's all about waiting on that baby, and it's hard to do. You know that ball is coming at you, and it's going to get to you, but hitters want to get to it. You see them load up. You see the wet bases too. Those are dangerous to step on. But when you see all the hitters, when that pitch is coming, how they load up and they load their self up to go forward. And sometimes it's hard to stop yourself from going forward towards the ball.
In the air, left side, Sizemore looking up into the raindrops. We'll pull it down And the Royals leave one to end the third. To the fourth we go. It's Tampa Bay 1, the Royals nothing. Joe Goldberg. We're now joined by Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. Monty, what do you see from Edinson Volquez? Because we're seeing a lot of 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 counts.
Yeah, he's in a situation where he's got to work out of jams. You have a couple lead-off doubles. As a result, you got to go to those off pitches a lot more to prohibit that run from scoring. So now we're seeing him throw a considerable amount of breaking balls, and as a result, running that pitch count up.
Is he getting away from his fastball?
Well, sometimes you have to when you get into situations where you have the runner on second base, nobody out. You want to try to pitch around and maybe get some swing and misses, which he has been able to do, but as a result, his pitch count's way up, 68 pitches already.
And here is Cabrera to left field. There's an early count out. Monty comes into the booth. One pitch, one out. You can stay. And here's what you're talking about, Monty. The fastball use. First 12 starts, 55%. Last 4, only 48.
Yeah, it's almost an inverse situation where he's changed into more of a breaking ball pitcher. And we know the home runs have been up in his last 4 starts a little bit. Saw one here today. So love to see him get back to where he's commanding that fastball. You have to be able to command it to use it. But it does such a good job in setting up those off pitches, his changeup and his curveball.
Brandon Guyer walked his first time up. Volquez responded by striking out the next 2. And there's that good movement with the sinker that it looks like it's going to be away and then snaps back over the outside corner. One ball, 2 strikes. Monty, when you got either too much movement on your pitches, what would you do to adjust?
Well, the most important thing is get your pitches moving down. And I think with the fastball, if you can stay on top of the ball, you're going to get downward movement, downward life. As a result, the ball is going to stay in that strike zone between those 2 inside and outside corners much more consistently.
Curveball knocked to Cuthbert. Accurate throw. 2 out.
What pitchers have a tendency to do occasionally is rush through their delivery and their arm gets down a little bit, and then that ball is really moving more lateral, and that's what you want to get away from. Much more difficult to be able to control that ball, and it's much more difficult to stay in the strike zone.
And the result is that you want him to hit the top of the ball.
Exactly.
At somebody.
I remember Ned Yost talking about Dave Island doing such a nice job helping Volquez because he said Edinson has a tendency to drift.
You hear the term stay above the rubber. We talked about Danny Duffy changing his delivery so he could stay above the rubber. It allows you to get in a position where your arm now doesn't have to drift. It doesn't have to try to play catch up. And as a result, you really use that pitcher's mound for the reason it's out there for. And that's to get that downhill angle, that downhill plane that you're looking for as a pitcher.
Kevin Kiermaier knocks it. It glances just off the end of Eric Hosmer's glove and into right field. So Kiermaier 1 for 2.
Nice mechanics here out of Edson Volquez. You see where his arm did slide down a little bit to that slot. Now you're never going to be directly on top, but sometimes you get on the side, and that's when you get that little bit lateral movement instead of the ball being below the bat, more in the middle of it.
It's amazing how these major league hitters don't miss when a ball's in the middle.
Yep.
Curt Casale struck out swinging. And that was an inning where Tampa Bay had runners on first and second with 2 out. Kiermaier struck out. So did Casale.
Really good downward life on that pitch. You see as the ball vanishes under the bat, that's where you want to be.
Kiermaier always a threat to go. He's 9 for 10 stealing bases this year. He does not go, and it's 0-2 now on the swing and miss.
You can really mess up your timing though if you're a hitter and you know Volquez and you're looking at his velocity. His average on his fastball is 93, so you're telling yourself he's going to give me a fastball to hit. And then, like you've been mentioning, Monty, how he's using his secondary pitches a little bit more, and that messes him up.
Yeah, and when you get a runner in scoring position especially, he's going to go to that more. But here today, you know, it's just a situation. You want to be consistent. You want to be able to find a way to get ahead of those counts and put yourself in a position where you can throw that off pitch when you want to, not when you have to.
He came up with the fastball. I mean, 0-2 count. He has so many options now. See if he can get Casale to chase. He does, with a good breaking ball down, and Volquez gets the strikeout, number 5 of the day. pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. By Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Steve Pizziak, Rex Hudler, Jeff Montgomery, Joel Goldberg with you. Bruce Chen with Joel in the booth, and he's doing the pre and post with Joel and Monty. Here is Eric Hosmer to lead things off, and he will take strike one. What do you see from Andres?
Well, kind of what we expected. A guy's going to pound the strike zone. He doesn't have overpowering type stuff. He's going to pitch contact, get a lot of ground balls.
Hosmer with a good pass at that one, but down in the count 0-2. Haas struck out swinging his first time up.
This is Andres' fourth stint up here this year. That's amazing.
Yeah, they've had so many injuries to their starting pitching. Jake Odorizzi, Alex Cobb, Drew Smiley starters in the DL.
We're just a little bit over the halfway mark, and he's wearing it out from Durham to Tampa Bay.
And you know how tough it is? He went 3-1 with a 1.71 ERA in June and was sent down.
Tough league,
I'll say.
Tampa's had such a knack for developing quality starting pitching over the years, and has kept them right at the top of that Eastern Division for a number of years. Got to give them a lot of credit.
The balls, 2 strikes. But they've lost so many over the years, and they traded away Will Myers and let go of Matt Joyce, and traded Jeremy Hellickson, traded Mike Montgomery and Enel Escobar, and in the past it's been David Price or James Shields or Wade Davis. But they keep on producing pitching, and that's why they're still in the mix in the American League East. They are second in earned run average, under 3.5. It's mainly from their starters. Eric lifts it in the air, left center field. Sizemore with the catch, and there's 1 out. So Salvador Perez will come up. Sal just 9 hits in his last 51 at bats. But he's had the last 2 days off. Sunday, Drew Butera caught for him. And there is a rope to left field for a base hit. Just the 3rd hit of the game for Kansas City. 1 by Infante, 1 by Gordon, now 1 by Perez. All 3 have been singles.
Andres starting to get his groove throwing first pitch strikes, so the Royals are going to go right back to what they like to do, first ball swinging. And if they can get that fastball out over the plate first pitch, why not? Keep at it, put it together, and see if they can get some frenzy hitting going here. Got to get on the board.
And I'm sure you and Ryan Lefebvre talked about the fact that the Royals swing at 34% of pitches out of the strike zone. That's the 2nd highest rate in baseball. And Dayton Moore was saying that that comes with the territory, that we are an aggressive athletic team. He said we've got to do a better job at disciplining ourselves with the strike zone, but we don't want to take away and look for patient players who are not very athletic and can't make the plays defensively. Orlando swings and misses, and he's had trouble with Andres. That's been going either curveball or this changeup.
Changeup's going to get on top and really kind of bottoms out like a parachute right at the end there.
Just barely outside.
Ooh, that could have went either way. a good hole over there on that right side. Forsythe, second baseman, playing him to pull.
All those swings and misses as he backs off again and goes with the off-speed pitch. Strikeout number 3 for Andres. Our Academy Sports and Outdoors talked about the Rays starting pitching, a .229 opponent average. That's the lowest in the American League. Their whip is the lowest as well. And it's amazing, Monty, as we talked about, no Odorizzi right now, no Alex Cobb, no Drew Smyly. Those were 3 guys expected to be part of the rotation, but they go down to the minors and pull up from Durham a guy like Andres.
And that's really the reason these guys have been able to stay in this American League East during the course of the season. Held the lead for a while, but they get on a stretch where they lost 7 straight prior to coming here to Kansas City and got back on the win column before. But you know, the starting pitching has kept them in games and allowed them to be competitive in the Eastern Division.
And it's not a runaway East at all. Very average East with the Yankees and Orioles and Rays and Jays and Boston Red Sox, even in last place, are only 6 games back.
But you know, the farm system's taking care of them. Talked about all the rookies this year that have come here and done a nice job. 4 of the 9 starting pitchers used by the Rays this year are all rookies. Andres, Colomé, Geltz, and Carnes. So they're getting some help from down AAA.
We'll see their best tomorrow night in Chris Archer. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yep, and he will be tough, I can tell you that. His 3rd season in the big leagues, he's starting to figure things out.
He got 115 and 2/3 innings already.
He's a horse.
Look at that, 28 walks.
Yep.
141 strikeouts. He could be starting in the All-Star game.
You know what? He continues to go like he's going. He'll be a Cy Young candidate. That's for sure. And of course, they look at run support anymore, so it's not all about the record. It's about the ERA and your quality of starts and pitches.
Popped him up. The second baseman, Forsythe, takes care of Omar Infante. We head to the 5th. Rays 1, Royals nothing.
The game break, Paulo Orlando becoming the 5th Royal in history to hit a walk-off grand slam, joining Cookie Rojas, Ray Palacios, Joe Randa, Justin Maxwell, and there it was, his first career walk-off, his first career grand slam, the first Brazilian-born player to ever hit a grand slam in the major leagues. And guys, after the game, I asked him what is grand slam in Portuguese. He said he didn't know, and then I heard from a lot of people on Twitter giving me the exact translations on Google Translate and all of that. The reason he didn't know was because they don't actually have the expression in Portuguese. You know, baseball isn't that big there. It doesn't have as much history. And I sent a message as we see the first pitch pop up from John Jaso, and they're finally able to get him as Alex Gordon brings that in. I sent a message to Cadu Cortez, who we met earlier this year, works for Fox Sports Brazil. He was in Cleveland doing a story on Orlando and Yan Gomes, and he said, oh, in Portuguese, we don't have this expression. We just call grand slam and then explain it in Portuguese.
Joel, you're right, because when that was all over, I asked Rex Hudler, because he won a Japanese League championship over in Japan. And Rex, you say the Japanese, even in the language Japanese,
home run.
Exactly.
Home run.
Are there other English words they'll use for baseball?
Yeah, they saved them for me when I didn't play so well. I won't tell you.
Did they call it baseball, or?
Well, they call me some less flattering words, Fizz.
No. I'm just talking. Do they call baseball baseball, or is there a Japanese word for baseball?
Oh, look. Do you think I got a Japanese dictionary here? What the heck?
You played a whole year there.
That was a lot of. First off, that was a lot of years ago, Fizz. I mean, he doesn't remember what happened back then, but I do remember, Hud, last year the first Grand Slam for the Royals came from Nori Aoki in Arizona, and I remember asking the Japanese media what was the expression for grand slam, and if I remember correctly, it was like Monrui home run or something like that, and so there was kind of like a mix of Japanese and English, and there's that great Japanese influence over in Brazil for baseball.
I'll tell you now, home runs, when they went over the center field wall, they called them back screen. Okay, it's a back screen, and that was a home run for them. It hit their screen in the back.
Joe, great to have you on board, along with Rex Hudler, a guy who experienced slumps in 2 different continents.
That's exactly right. 3 countries.
Down low. Well, they called that a strike. So it's a 2-2 count. Volquez now has on Grady Sizemore, who's 0 for 2.
Salvi doing a nice job for Tim Timmons back there. He's a big setup guy, and he knows how to set behind that plate. Corners, good spot there. Didn't get it.
That's that 2-seamer that I really like, where it looks like it's going to be a ball, Monty, and then zips on the inside corner.
That's a pitch he was so effective with earlier in the season. Almost threw it at will. Be able to tank that inside corner to a left-handed batter.
He's got to get foul.
Too long for Escobar to go. The Royals had 3 infielders on the right side and kept Escobar at short. If they had a third baseman over there, they may have been able to reach that.
You'll see him get on top of this 2-seam fastball, and that's where he gets the life. He gets the spin, so it's going to come back to the plate. A lot of times you'll see pitchers that are not even 2-seam fastball pitchers use that pitch with a man on base, trying to get that double play ball, get a ball on the ground to second base. Get you a quick 2 outs with 1 pitch.
Do you have more finger pressure index when you throw a pitch like that?
Well, it's all based on where you're going to grip the ball. A lot of guys will grip it with the seams. A lot of guys will use the entire loop of that frame where you're going to be able to do it. So I think it's one of the, it all depends on the guy, but I think if you're going to throw it on top and a lot of pressure on your index finger, that'll give you that life down, which is the life you want to get on the pitch.
A 3-2 count, a swing, and a fly ball struck to Gordon near the line. He'll make the catch. And 2 out here in the 5th inning, but Volquez, his next pitch will be his 90th to try and get through 5.
See, there he goes to that 2-seamer again. Sizemore get a little extended, but under the pitch, gets the out.
For the most part, the Royals have been able to keep quiet. Evan Longoria 1 for 7 in the first 2 games, but that one hit was a home run. Rays with 2 home runs in the first game. Royals with 2 home runs in the first game. One by Gordon and then the walk-off by Orlando.
See that second inning, very responsible for his high pitch count here through his 5th inning.
Yeah, was it Mark Burley who threw last night, and the game was 1 hour and 54 minutes?
If there was a 2-hour game, I bet he's responsible for it.
Burley was in it, Chris Sale. The White Sox won it. And there's a pitch a little bit low.
A little bit of a delayed call. Longoria didn't like it.
Called it a strike. It was a delayed call by the home plate umpire. So the Volquez has a 2-2 count rather than 3-1. And then there's a base hit struck to left field. Not done yet. And you know that Ned Yost would love to have Volquez give him one more. He's right now at 94 pitches. Way too many for just 5 innings.
Well, he did bring up the 26th man for this doubleheader in Aaron Brooks. So he's got an extra arm out there that he normally wouldn't have.
But if you can get Volquez through 6, then all of a sudden you can use Ryan Madsen in one of those key setup inning roles. And Franklin Morales as well to face the tough lefties. They're stretching right now.
Matt Andriese, their starter tonight, is their 26th guy they brought up.
You can bring in an extra guy when a team plays in a doubleheader.
Yep, they brought that rule out in 2012.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a good rule. You know, doubleheaders are taxing, especially if you go extra innings. You could deplete your whole bullpen in one game.
I think it's tough about doubleheaders. Oftentimes it doesn't really show the effect on the pitching staff of 2 or 3 days down the road when everybody's arm is just a little dead from really overuse.
You know, the other rule I'd like to see put in place is when they expand the rosters in September, you have to declare which 25 you have available for that game. I just think it's so odd that you play every month of the season the same with 25, and now you get an extra 5, 6, 7 guys.
What would Terry Francona do?
Here is the 2-0 pitch, way outside, 3-0.
You know, for Edison, obviously the moisture, the rain, it's bothering him. He's a little bit frustrated tonight. You can tell because he's not commanding his ball like he'd like to, but he's doing a good job like Chris Young did. He's keeping his team in the game. And so that's all you can ask for him, is you're not going to be perfect every night. The conditions, you know, and things like that. Dave Island's got to start to get that bullpen active now.
They're starting to warm as the 3-0 pitch coming to James Loney, who will swing and foul it off. 3-1.
Looks like it's Brandon Finnegan getting loose down there.
Guys, a lot of time when you have conditions like this where it's rainy throughout the entire game, it's not the grip that the pitcher has the most difficult time with. It's the rubber itself and being able to get that good footing when you're going to land out in front on that pitcher's mound, because if you don't have very good footing and real firm landing area, it's almost like you're pitching on skates.
Runner goes in the 3-1. Sal will not throw as it's ball 4. So 3 walks, and Dave Island's going to come out for a visit because he wants to make sure it stays right here at 1-0. But just the volume of pitches thrown in 5 innings, the total, I don't think bothers Ned Yost as much as it does the volume within a 5-inning frame.
Yeah, he's going to be right at his 100th pitch on his next pitch he throws. So 20 pitches per inning, it's going to really tax you in that 5-inning stretch. So hopefully Eddie Volquez can get out of this inning, and then Ned will have a decision to make on whether to send him back out. But I would say he's probably going to be his last inning to go to the bullpen.
And Royals fans, don't miss the 4th round of T-Shirt Tuesday on July 21st when the Pirates come to the K. The first 10,000 fans will receive a modern style charcoal gray tee courtesy of Papa John's. Gates are scheduled to open at 5:30, so get your tickets now at Royals.com/T-Shirt Tuesday. or by calling 1-800-6-ROYALS. And that gentleman wearing tonight's giveaway, the HDH Herrera, Davis, and Holland. Logan Forsythe, double his first time up, struck out his last at bat. Ball one. In the air to center field, Gerard Dyson comes in. He'll make the catch. So Volquez gives up only one run, but he had base runners every single inning. Winds up with more than 100 pitches through 5. Thoroughbred Ford. For the best deals on new Ford cars and trucks, visit thoroughbredford.com. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Jeff Montgomery, Joe Goldberg, Bruce Chen, and our DraftKings. Here's a look at Gerard Dyson, who was one of our selections, 0 for 1 with the ground at Ike Davis. Tonight at the New York Yankees, 0 for 2, and Taijuan Walker. Well, Taijuan will be hosting the Detroit Tigers later tonight. Last 5 starts have gone quite well. And Brett Anderson, last 2 outstanding for the Dodgers. Those are the guys we'll be watching. Go to DraftKings.com and enter the promo code BROYAL. Well, Edinson Volquez, we're guessing his evening is over. A lot of times a guy will throw a sweatshirt on to stay warm. Volquez at over 100 pitches through 5 innings, and the Royals hit now in the bottom of the 5th, and Matt Andriese has been terrific through 4, allowing the Royals just 3 singles, and he delivers strike 1 to Cheslor Cuthbert. Cheslor had a big moment in Game 1, his major league debut, and had his first big league hit.
Welcome to the big leagues. He'll never forget it. Little chopper right through that hole on the left side. Similar swing there, just missed the line. Everybody, including Salvi, wanted to take a look at that ball.
Cuthbert, the 14th player from Nicaragua to make it to the big leagues. And of course, perhaps the greatest, El Presidente, Dennis Martinez. Most of the Middle American countries are crazy about soccer, but Chester telling me that Nicaragua in the last 10-15 years is crazy about baseball, and a swing and miss here, and that is strikeout number 4 for Andres.
Andres is dealing tonight, Monty, because he's mixing them. They've never seen him before. He's getting ahead with his fastball, and then he's using sliders, cutters, and hooks to finish guys off.
Right, he's got good stuff, but I think the element of surprise has really played in his favor here tonight. Royals' first time having an opportunity to see this young man.
He has not started in the big league since June 27, and gave up only 1 hit in 6 innings to the Red Sox, and that was a 4th inning single by Xander Bogaerts. 5 of his 6 innings were perfect, but that is his only quality start of the year. The Rays run a home run by John Jaso in the 3rd. That's been it. Falling behind Dyson, one of the last guys you want to issue a walk to with his kind of speed. The Royals would love to get Andres in the stretch. Throws a strike, 3-1.
You're right. I'd like to see Dyson get on base. Since May 25th, he's hit .424. He's been done a nice job of staying on top of the ball. They really need him and his speed out there. Turn on it here if he gives you a cookie. No.
He takes outside, so Dyson is on with his 9 stolen bases this year. And Andres, you can see by his body language, angry with himself. Now he will be pitching out of the stretch with a guy ultra quick.
Yeah, you might think that the wet ground might deter Dyson or not get a good footing over there at first base, but that's not true. This clay, Trevor Vance, the outstanding groundskeeper here for the Royals in this ballpark, has told me that it holds a lot of water. It's a great clay. It holds moisture. Sometimes it might look like there's water on it, but players get a good grip on it. Shouldn't mess with Dyson at all.
The Rays with 2 steals. And both steals came without a throw. Casale has thrown out just 19% of base stealers this year. He does not go. Escobar takes a rip, strike 1.
Right idea. Looked like he's trying to hit that hole on the right side.
Dyson 9 for 10 stealing bases. He has 79 steals since the beginning of 2013. And he had a huge lead.
By the looks of that leg kick that he had coming home, looks like that gives Dyson enough time to steal. Let's get a time on him here.
He goes. Pitch taken. Nope.
Yep, I got it. Andres at 1.31 seconds, and anything 1-3 or under, it's a great time, but anything 1-3 or over gives a base stealer like Dyson a chance to steal, and he got his 10th bag there. Fortunately, not over sliding there, as they're going to check it and see. But you know, the ground is a little bit slick. You might have to start your slide a little sooner to slow yourself down so you don't overslide the base. Sometimes head first sliders have that problem. Good takeoff. First full speed in 1 step. Oh man, just barely kept his toe on there.
He needs a little more weight on those skinny bones to keep him going so far past the bag.
Well, he's flying, I'm going to tell you.
Sure is.
He's got it going.
Yeah, Cash told the umpire, no, we will not protest, no challenge. So now the Royals have speed and scoring position.
Lousy singles, all he needs.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Tampa Bay has been miserable with runners in scoring position in game 2. They're 0 for 8. The Royals haven't had many opportunities. They're 0 for 2, but their greatest opportunity, they had Escobar at third with only 1 out. Morales, though, hit a shot back to the second baseman directly at him with the infield in, and then Hosmer struck out. And Escobar chases 1. And that is strikeout number 5 for Andres.
Well, he stayed with it. Back-to-back sliders right over the middle of the plate. And Escobar normally looks pretty good on, but he had him fooled. See him stepping. His eyes picked it up, and it's too late.
Well, Gordon has been very productive today. He has 4 hits and 6 at-bats, 2 RBIs, 1 hit, a home run. Ball 1. Alex has already been hit 12 times this year. Come on.
Well, this is what, Monty, you're talking about. It's not the grip on the ball, it's the landing foot. Sometimes if that foot slips, just like you said, it's going to leave that arm angle at a different spot. He came way up and in on Alex. He didn't mean to do that. Right,
and a lot of times it even takes away a little bit of your security or your confidence when you know you don't have that great footing.
Punches one to center field, and it's going to drop. Dyson scores. The game's tied at 1.
The minute Andres walked around Dyson, he shook his head and he knew that could be a problem for him. And sure enough, Dyson ripped him off for his 10th steal, and Alex picked him up. Jam shot may not be the prettiest hit, but you know, in the books tomorrow, it's a line shot with a stake attached.
He hit it right out in that low cane triangle.
That's exactly right. He picked out a good spot. He's strong enough, got a pitch up, and is able to tie this baby up.
Gordon 5 for 7 now in this doubleheader, and 3 RBIs. Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com, and you will be entered to win a majestic prize back from Rally House. Ned was saying he'd like to take opportunities to give guys rest. They were able to rest because of yesterday's rainout. Gordo playing in both games today.
Andres has given up 4 home runs to left-handed batters and a .293 average coming in. So watch out. He tried the changeup away here. 2-0 count. He better be careful.
And I think Morales, as well as any player in the Royals, makes adjustments, not only from at bat to at bat, but sometimes from pitch to pitch.
Got a little triangle shift on him. Longoria, he was splitting the bags between second and third with his positioning, and now he's going all the way back to the shortstop area. So really, lots of room for Morales. He could do some damage going the other way as well as pulling it. Big, spacious outfield here at the K. Looking for one to drop.
3 balls and 1 strike. Rusty Kuntz was telling me the other day that Henrys Morales in the Minnesota series noticed a pattern in Casey Fiend's pitching, the way he was working in and then away, and the pattern developed, and Morales guessed in, and that was the pattern. He pitched him in, Kendrick stayed inside, looped a base hit to left field, which tied the game, and that was the game the Royals would later win on Friday in walk-off fashion. Will get out of play, and they'll try it again at 3-2. Morales had to look back at the dugout like that was my pitch.
Yep, can't get any better than that. 92, split the dish, and he pulled off of it. He tells me with that swing there, he was trying to pull one in the Rays bullpen.
You very rarely see him overswing. Did he go? He did not. So 2 walks in the inning. And they don't want Andres, a right-hander, to face Eric Hosmer for the 3rd time, so they're bringing in one of Hosmer's old teammates, Everett Teaford.
Bring him.
Support for the Royals by voting in a KC record 4 starters to the All-Star game, but your work isn't done yet. Third baseman Mike Moustakas is a final vote candidate in the American League, and he needs your support. Voting is now live and ends at 3 o'clock this Friday, so go to Royals.com/vote or text A5 to the number 89269. Let's make a statement with 7 Royals going to the All-Star game. Vote Moose. Here is Eric Hosmer facing a former teammate and friend, Everett Teaford.
He knows what Teaford's features. Fastball. He'll cut that fastball. Big curve. And you know, it may sound like we're greedy up here trying to vote another Royals player in. You know why, Fizz? It's because we are.
Went 3 decades without for a while in the Royals. Last guy who got elected in before this year was Jermaine Dye in 2000.
There you go. The more the merrier. Hosmer wants to make a difference here.
There's a right-hander warming in the bullpen. Down low, 2-1. Teaford likely on just for Hosmer because right-handers Perez, Orlando, Infante, Cuthbert will follow. Didn't mean to do it. Comebacker. Teaford to first. Inning over. But the Royals come up with the tying run on a base hit by Alex Gordon that plates Gerard Dyson.
Hey, it's a new game.
Land. What's cooking at the K? Well, tomorrow's student night. Thursday, all you can eat seats. Friday through Sunday, we've got Buck Night fireworks on Friday, Faith and Family Day on Saturday, and Slugger Magnet Set on Sunday. And of course, every Sunday is a family fun day at the ballpark. That's what's cooking. And this is also cooking. T-Rex Hudler. Man, you got little arms.
Oh, man, but look at that tail. You better believe it, folks. Thank you.
Brandon Finnegan comes out of the Royals bullpen. He will face Cabrera, Geyer, and Kiermaier here in the 6th inning. And Finnegan has become a multiple innings guy, Monty, and that really helps Ned Yost dramatically.
Well, especially when you're in the second game of a doubleheader and 3 of your guys went during that first game, you're going to look for some depth from Brendan Finnegan.
His numbers much better in the major leagues than they are in the minor leagues, but the Royals trying to make him a starter in the minors, building up his innings. And he immediately delivers strike 1 to Cabrera, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and lineout.
We've seen him touch 95. He's good. Low 90s. Got a nice little breaking ball he comes in there with.
Ground ball short. Escobar has it. And we have 1 out to start the 6th inning.
Monty, I'm just not so sure that Finnegan's going to ever become a starter. I mean, they still may have visions for him to be a starter, but he's really good coming out of that bullpen, and he can go 3-4 innings sometimes.
He's not a real big guy, but when you watch his motion, his delivery, he's got a whole lot of moving parts, and I think it creates a great deal of deception for him, and it makes him more effective, even though, you know, he's going to be in the mid-90s, but he doesn't always have to be that guy that's going to overpower, because he has that long arm, and he's able to really get that extension out.
And the importance of bullpen arms becomes premier when you see what the Royals did last year, what the Astros are trying to do. We were in Houston. They said they want to follow Kansas City's plan. The same thing is true with Tampa Bay. The way they worked this year, even though they have a starting pitching ERA of 3.18 coming into the day's activities, the Rays starters with the fewest number of innings worked, or down near the bottom. Royals and Rays down near the bottom. And the Royals drafting, making a great effort to draft in the minor leagues. And they drafted another 2 high school pitchers in the first and supplemental round this year. Escobar records the first 2 outs with assists to get Cabrera, and now Brandon Geyer. Fans, slug your way to the Home Run Derby crown and master the game millions are playing. Action-packed, insanely fun, and play in Great American Ballpark, home of the All-Star Game with 2015 Home Run Derby participants. Download MLB.com Home Run Derby free on the App Store and Google Play. Kiermaier, the batter, who takes strike 1. And the Royals really with great depth in the minor league system, with a left-hander like Sean Manaea, who is back and healthy, pitching in Wilmington. John Lamb, a left-hander, is pitching very well at AAA Omaha. I told you about Kyle Zimmer. It's pulled to the right side, foul, strike 2.
Guys, I was talking about that deception that Finnegan's going to be able to create. You're going to see how he throws his glove almost out in front of the hitter. And then he's got that real load where you see him get on top of the baseball, and it comes out of nowhere. And that's where the deception comes from. Even though he's not a big guy, he can be very effective as a result of hiding the baseball for so long.
Infante takes care of a big hop and takes care of the swift Kevin Kiermaier. That will do it. 3 up, 3 down for Brandon Finnegan. We're tied at 1 going to the bottom of the 6th. Wonder Dog, Rex Hudler, Pilot Bombardier, waiter, check please. You can't sneak a piece of cheese by a hungry rat.
Ma'am, you did a great job. I absolutely love you. Yeah, I love you too.
Well, it's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo, and that was the strongest I've seen. Use hashtag KC-StrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, you'll get on with a t-shirt like that. This is our Sonic Slam inning. And Cheryl O'Brien from Independence, Missouri is our contestant. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Cheryl, you get $1,100. The Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, you get $25,000. Let's go for it. We've got a new pitcher, and it's Brandon Gomes.
He'll go 89 to 94 with the velocity on his fastball. Slider, he'll mix in.
7 walks versus 21 strikeouts facing Perez, Orlando, and Infante. Slow roller. In comes the third baseman, Longoria. Got him.
Longoria makes those plays in his sleep. He's as good as there is on a third baseman coming in on a ball like this. Salvi's taking off out of that box.
He knew the speed of the runner too, Hud. Didn't try to barehand it, use his glove.
Exactly. Had time, especially a wet ball. That turf is wet. Got to be sure.
Orlando is glad he doesn't have to see starting pitcher Matt Andriese, who struck him out twice. Really worked him with breaking balls and changeups. And he delivers strike one from Brandon Gomes, the 30-year-old veteran out of Fall River, Massachusetts. And then he came too far inside. Orlando flips his bat away and slowly walks to first base. I don't think he wanted to put a speed guy on with a 1-1 game.
No, he didn't want to do that.
Last time they put a speed guy on a free pass, Gerard Dyson walked, promptly stole second base.
Four-seamer. Hit him in the latissimus dorsi, the hood of the cobra.
And to finish off what Dyson did after he walked and stole second, he scored on Alex Gordon's base hit.
I think Paulo Orlando's got to take that and get the first base, score a run, make it hurt.
That's right. And you know, he has base stealing ability.
He's 2 for 3 this year. Gomes showing quick feet. Good move.
Might not be a bad time to put a little hit and run going here. One out. Get Paulo Orlando to third base. Big hole over there on the right side.
One ball, no strikes. Infante was great against the Rays last year, going 9 for 16, and then promptly went 2 for 4 in game 1 and 1 for 2 thus far in game 2. Opponents versus Gomes in his career, 13 for 14 stealing bases.
He starts wide open. He comes closed. It's a little hop move.
We remember James Shields. We've seen Wade Davis, Andres Early. A lot of these Rays pitchers, they have this really unconventional way of getting set for their set position.
Just did curl foul at the last second, and that would have put runners on first and second with only 1 out.
Not bad. When you're bunting for a bunt base hit, you want to keep it close to that line. That way, if it's fair, you got an easy base hit, and if it goes foul, you got another shot.
Trevor's got to make that line a little higher, make it into a wall where it curls back into fair territory.
Chris, are you telling Trevor Vance how to manicure his field?
I was just having a conversation with two of my favorite people,
okay,
Rex Hudler and Jeff Montgomery.
Okay.
And you had to make it negative.
No,
pull
but
us all down.
Look, but you know, Fizz, there are some lines in the league when you have a bunting team and you do a lot of bunting. There are some lines that once it starts rolling, it hits that line, it rolls back fair.
Or if you got a lot of pitchers or single ball pitchers, don't cut the grass so close to the dirt. In the dirt, good block by the catcher Kurt Casale. Boy, that's perfect fundamentals.
Yeah, it's a nice job. Like Salvi didn't try to catch it, just wanted to keep it in front.
He's turned his body into a cup. Will Infante get the fastball he wants? No, he rolls it to short. Second one, a good slide by Orlando after he got hit. He was not going to let him turn two.
You're right. Nice to see that good hard slide. No chance for Forsythe to get the job done. Paulo was on him. Like to see it. Good hard slide.
Now Chesler Cuthbert. There's a base hit. Infante stops at second. Chesler with his second major league hit.
Hey, taking advantage of that first pitch. Gomes tried to get it by him. He couldn't. Kept it in the large part of the field. Now runner in scoring position. Let's see if the Royals can get a guy home. Dyson, he's the right man. Could be in the right spot here. Been hot.
Walked his last time. Stole second. Scored on Gordo's single.
Hit 375 off the last road trip.
And he had that big hit in Houston that drove in two and tied the game. The Astros would win late. But Dyson with a great at bat, firing one in the left center field gap. Opponents just 1 for 17 against Gomes with runners in scoring position and 2 out. 2-0.
Outfielders have come in not respecting Dyson's power, but you don't have to have power. You can shoot that ball in the gap and run for days.
What are the outfield arms like?
Pretty good. Not bad. Kiermaier's got a cannon. 6 outfield assists for him. 7, excuse me.
Two and one. The Royals won game 1 9-5 on Paulo Orlando's grand slam.
You know, one of the reasons why Dyson's been so good is they all try to pitch him up in the zone so he hits the ball in the air, but he's been staying on top.
And they stayed upstairs with him, and now he fouls it off, and he's mad at himself. Got a 2-2 count. Infante at second, Cuthbert at first. 3-2. Now the runners will be moving. So if Dyson can gap one, he can Driving two. Rusty Kuntz reminding his guys of just that.
He tries a high fastball here.
Gerard's seeing a lot of pitches in this at bat, like see him keep it alive. Pretty good pitch to handle right there.
It's a couple he hasn't been able to square up. He would like to have it back. He's saying, throw me that same pitch.
Out of play.
He's getting close.
He will see at least 8 pitches in this duel. Gomes going more with that fastball above the belt. 2 on, 2 out, 1-1 game. Bottom of the 6th inning. Low ball 4. The bases are loaded for the Royals and their leadoff batter, Alcides Escobar. Well, Jim Hickey will come out for a visit with Brandon Gomes, but for the Royals in this doubleheader, this is their 6th plate appearance. With the bases loaded today, obviously the most productive was in the 9th inning when Paulo Orlando hit a grand slam for a walk-off Royals victory. But Escobar, who's very good in the clutch, hitting over 340 with runners in scoring position, is up now with the bases juiced in the last of the 6th. Crowd going crazy at the K.
Escobar, he's the most productive Royal with the bases loaded this year. 3 for 5.
And a bunt try.
That was interesting. Escobar, one of the best averages with runners in scoring position. He tried to catch Longo from playing back, but Longo, he was quick coming in. If that was fair, it would have been out of the inning.
Now he's down 0-2 as Gomes went off speed.
There's that split finger. Might throw it again.
He did, and now the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gomes again having difficulty with his plant foot and his landing fit. You hang a slider at 85 miles an hour. Well, Escobar could clear the bases. A 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Big pitch here. He does not want to go 3-2 with the bases loaded.
He's really struggling with the footing on the rubber. He's in between every pitch going back, pounding his foot on that pitcher's rubber, trying to knock that mud off. And I think Alcides Escobar may have done him a favor on that first pitch of the sequence here by trying the bunt. Having trouble with the mound, having difficulty throwing strikes.
Escobar knocks it foul. Once again, another split finger pitch. You can see how Gomes is holding it with a split finger grip, and then he'll change up, but he continues to pound at the rubber.
Now that pitch is going to go down and in. It's going to sink in towards Escobar. and it's an effective pitch. But when you've seen it 3 pitches in a row now, he's probably trying to surprise him with a fastball.
He did try and surprise him with a fastball and fouled straight back. Escobar took the bat and smacked his helmet as if to say, that may have been my pitch. Cheryl O'Brien sitting on pins and needles. Esky goes deep, you win 25 grand. Foul off. Escobar with only 2 home runs this year, and they've both been on the very first pitches of games. I remember one only because it was at Wrigley Field in Chicago, and there were so many Royals fans there. It sounded like it was a home game.
351 with runners in scoring position this year for Escobar. I think Ned would be happy with a lousy single.
3-2. Does that take away the split?
Probably does. He's going to throw a strike here. A situation that the go-ahead runner on third base, you have to throw a strike. Alcides Escobar, I think the key for him, just shorten up, punch it to right field, do anything he can if he does come in that strike zone.
He took a mighty whack. I mean, Gerard Dyson was flying from first to second.
Oh man, if there ever was a bases loaded cookie, it was it right there, and he just missed it. The kind of jump Dyson's getting at first base, he doesn't have to hit the gap scoring.
Another fastball.
Boy, I just love the energy here at the K. You can hear the people. They are up on their feet. They know that one big hit at this part of the game could mean trouble for Tampa Bay.
Royals started this game with a 4.5-game lead in the American League Central over the Minnesota Twins. They won game 1 9-5 in dramatic fashion on a grand slam walk-off by Orlando. Bases loaded again, 2 out in the 6th. Comes 1, in comes 2, here comes Dyson, and Escobar comes through.
That's the best at bat I've seen out of Escobar the whole year. He's had some good ones, but man, you foul off that many pitches, 3-2, you spit on those split fingers, and you get another cookie. Inside, he pulled it right by Longoria. You can't sneak a piece of cheese by a hungry rat, especially in front of this crowd. They're going crazy. Oh, that's timely. Longoria did all he could to grab it, and with Dyson is such a great jump at first base, that was a no-doubter. All 3 runs score, and the Royals are in good shape.
4-1 Kansas City. Pitching change here at the K. Alex Colomé is next. bases clearing double. And now we will see Alex Colomé. He was supposed to start last night. Game got washed out, so no Colomé. And now he comes out of the bullpen. 26 years of age, out of the Dominican Republic. Alex Gordon, the batter. Ball one.
Look for that fastball. It's a power fastball. He'll go 91 to 96. Slider, cutter, curve and a change. Escobar, clutch hit, makes him 4 for 6 this year with the bases loaded. Best on the Royals.
Strike in there, 1-1. All 4 runs by Kansas City with 2 outs. They've been one of the best teams this year with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. But they also received some gifts from the Rays pitching staff. Gordon takes a strike in the outside corner. 4 runs tonight. 2 walks have scored that were given up by the Rays, and the other was set up by a hit by pitch in this inning when Orlando got hit by a pitch. Infante reached, then a single, a walk, and the bases clearing double by Escobar, who now has 31 RBIs this year. In the dirt, Escobar was thinking about going. Now trots back to second.
If you're talking about the opportunities, another thing you look at here, Omar Infante's up. Paulo Orlando is on first base. Ground ball could have been a double play, but Orlando going hard into second base for that slide. No chance for the double play. Extends the inning, and as a result, 3 runs following.
Excellent call, Monty. You're exactly right. And the Royals, the way they win, their championship style of play is doing the little things, and the little things add up. You're exactly right.
All of their wins on this homestand have been because of little things. And there is Gordon dropping 1 to left. Here comes Escobar, and the Royals go in front by 4.
We're witnessing a little frenzy style offense by the Royals that they like to do. That ball is down and away, and certainly you're not looking to pull that pitch. Alex, he goes with it nicely. I mean, he just lays it out there. That's 2 hits tonight to the opposite field. Excellent job of hitting.
Gordo 6 for 8 in this doubleheader. Four driven in. 37 RBIs total on the year. Kind of flexing his muscles as he heads to Cincinnati for the All-Star game.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, you have a good first game of a doubleheader, and then you have a good second game. Boy, that's a week's worth of work in one day.
And you know, if they played yesterday, Ned Yost was trying to find a day off for Alex to give him rest. He knows a lot of those guys won't get any rest when they head to Cincinnati. Royals with 6 guys going, the 4 starters, their catcher Perez, shortstop Escobar, and outfielders Kane and Gordon, and then 2 relievers in Pereira and Davis. All excited and delighted to go, but the wear and tear of a 162 game +1 season. Good at bat by Morales, who is 0 for 2 with a walk.
And we're not done. Vote Moose.
Get 7 in. Foul. Kendris is second in the American League in 2-out RBIs. He has 29 this year. Rusty Coots was telling me there's a corner where the guys will get to with Morales because he's the DH, and they'll sit and visit, and he'll talk about patterns that pitchers have or what they're trying to do in a particular at bat. Real student of the game. And Rex and I saw him for a long time, Monty, in the Angels organization. He is a clutch player. He is a calm, cool, collected hitter. And last season I really thought was a mirage because he got there so late with Minnesota, signing late.
You miss spring training, I don't care who you are, you're going to struggle.
Back up the middle. Gordon, who is running, will make it all the way to third. Really love the moxie of this team, and we've seen it on this homestand with 3 dramatic walk-off victories. But it just shows you the confidence they have as a team, and not just offensively, but the way they save runs defensively, the way they close out games as a bullpen.
We're starting to see that balance again too now out of this lineup. Every batter tonight, with the exception of the guy at the plate, Eric Hosmer's reached base in some form or fashion.
Hosmer hits one to left field. Grady Sizemore near the line will make the catch, but the damage has been done. It was tied at 1 entering the bottom of the 6th, but Escobar with the big hit, bases loaded, clears him. 1 swing.
That's an all-star at bat.
Visit us at yourmidwestforddealers.com. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. A beautiful look at a beautiful stadium, Kauffman Stadium, with the Royals leading 5-1. We head to the top of the 7th inning, and Finnegan stays in the game. Brandon went 1-2-3 with these Rays in the 6th. And he faces Kurt Casale to lead things off in the 7th.
Royals batting around in the 6th inning for the 10th time this year. Nice production.
In search of their 48th win of the year, trying to move 15 games over 500. Increase their lead in the American League Central. Minnesota Twins, last time I checked, were leading their game. Kyle Gibson was pitching, and we saw the gem he pitched against the Royals last week, game 1 of that 4-game series, throwing 8 shutout innings. Rays with a chance to move up because the Yankees lost today to the A's 4-3. That will get out of play. Corey Kluber throws another shutout. His record is only 4-9. Beats the Astros 2-0. Just low and a 3-1 count. Back in there at 3-2, and I think Finnegan has that mentality. I'm going to force him to hit his way on. I will not walk him.
Well, that's definitely what he wants to do. Challenge him, keep it down, use that defense like he did that last inning. A couple of ground balls to Escobar from right-handed bats.
Grounder to third. Cuthbert has it. He has a strong arm. 1 out.
Yeah, he showed it there by not coming and getting it. He waited on and got the big hop and showed his nice arm. All right, third play tonight. We've seen him. I'll see he started in. He goes, nah, you know what? I know who's running and I have a good arm. Got him by plenty.
Finnegan has faced 4, retired all 4 on groundouts, and here's Jaso with that wide open stance. Jaso a hit in game 1, and a double and a home run his first 2 times up before Volquez got him on a pop-up to left in the 5th.
Yeah, that stance he starts with is pretty interesting. It almost looks like he's on a snowboard. You know, he's got his right foot back, and you know he's comfortably balanced there, and he's wide open with both eyes looking towards the pitcher. He's not looking across the bridge of his nose. See, he'll do it right here on his last little practice swing. See how he drops that foot back even with his other one. I don't know too many hitting coaches going to teach that, but that's a comfort thing.
Finnegan gets back in the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's an interesting bent leg that he's got right there. Very interesting, and he's able to keep his hands back, but look at his head. Doesn't bother him. It's a flamingo kick moving forward.
Who knows, maybe he is a snowboarder in the offseason. I understand he really enjoys hiking. He and his wife went to Patagonia this past offseason down near Cape Horn. Hiked the mountains, the fjords, South America. Finnegan with a 2-2 count. Up and in. Came with the heat at 94. So back-to-back hitters. He's had full at 3-2. Lefty Sizemore will be pinch hit for as Joey Butler's moved in the on-deck circle. Sal was unable to hold on, so we'll try it again. Didn't miss by much, but he did miss, and that is the first base runner against Finnegan. And now we will see the right-handed batter, Joey Butler. He'll be pinch hitting for Grady Sizemore. Ned Yost will make a move as well.
Hochevar's ready.
So Finnegan's able to get 4 outs. If the Royals hang on, he's in line to get the victory. But unable to get John Joso, and here comes Luke Hochevar to go after the right-handed swinging Joey Butler. The Royals and Fox Sports Kansas City are offering a unique way for fans across the Midwest to enjoy a game at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Forever Royal Fan Express. Fans in designated markets will have the opportunity to win a trip to the K. Next stop is Omaha on July 11th. Go to Royals.com/Fan Express for more information. Luke Hochevar will face the right-handed swinging Joey Butler. He has the right-handed version almost of John Jaso, as Hoch delivers ball 1. Hitting .298, 6 home runs, 21 driven in, but Butler's been a little quiet lately, as he was 0 for 12 going into game 1 and had 1 hit and 4 at bats. That's a strike, 1-1. Grounder up the middle, right to Escobar, touches second and 2 for the double play.
Oh, man, does that help? Way to roll it up.
around the league. Cubs trying to sweep a doubleheader against the Cardinals. Minnesota all over Baltimore. Toronto, Josh Donaldson with his 21st home run. And Detroit, a couple of home runs from Nick Castellanos and recently acquired Mark Krause. Our Mazda game break takes us to Minnesota. Saw the youngster Miguel Sano make his debut here in Kansas City, showing off some of that power with the 2-run home run. After the game, Jeff Montgomery, Bruce Chen, and I will break it all down. Reaction as the Royals look for a doubleheader sweep. And we will get you ready for Game 3, Archer and Guthrie. Guys?
Thank you very much, Joel. And they won Game 1 9-5 on a rather dramatic Paulo Orlando grand slam in the 9th. Now it is Salvador Perez ripping one foul.
And that's a great catch by the fan on the line. Just right over the rail. Nice play, sir.
You're my man.
No gloves, barehanded.
Good breaking ball on an 0-2 count, and Colomé strikes out Salvador Perez.
Check out this fan on Salvi's best bolt. He hits it. This guy cradles it up nicely. How about that? He don't need any leather. He says, you know what? There's a souvenir for you folks. Come on, give it up. Yeah. That's a hard shot down the line. There wasn't no air underneath that one. That was a line drive.
He was not getting out of the way. He was taking home a souvenir.
Nice.
Paulo Orlando started Tampa Bay's trouble in that last inning. With the score tied at 1, Orlando got hit in the back on a runaway fastball that was coming in hard after Infante then hit a ground ball to second base, but Orlando with a hard slide made sure there was no double play. And that double play would have ended the inning. Instead, a single by Cuthbert, a walk to Dyson, that loaded the bases, and then Escobar cleared him.
That's right. So Paulo Orlando did something really good in this game. And you know what? Wasn't the grand slam homer. It was just a nice little hard slide into second base. And you do one good thing in a big league game as a player, you've done something, and that helps it. That's how hard the game is. Just one good thing. Some guys do more, but Paulo did his job.
2 out for Infante. He has 3 hits in the 2 games today. All 1. Colomé as a starting pitcher has been very good. His last outing was as a starter last Wednesday. Although he lost to Cleveland, he did go 7 innings, gave up 5 runs. Grounder, deep short, long throw, and that's a heck of a play by Asdrubal Cabrera, off balance, an accurate throw. 1, 2, 3 go the Royals in the 7th. We head to the 8th. It's KC 5 and Tampa Bay 1.
That was nice. play right. When you have a defense as good as the Royals, you're going to use it. Keeping the ball down, off balance, and the guy's making the plays. Hoche, he'll take this one. Oh, a little two-hopper right to Escobar. Routine procedure for that young shortstop. He's an all-star, by the way.
Starting in Cincinnati next week alongside 3 other Royals, and they'll be bringing 2 members out of their bullpen, and maybe a 7th with Mike Moustakas, as it says right behind home plate. Hashtag vote Moose. Moose not with the team, and our prayers and thoughts are with him as he is with his family in Southern California on the bereavement family medical emergency list. Swing and a miss by Evan Longoria.
Hochevar's been really finding his groove lately. Been able to pitch back-to-back innings. Good fastball. He's touching 95. Maximum velocity is perfect. You don't need any more than that. Heck, anything in the low 90s with movement on the plate and on the corners is good enough. Nice overhand curveball. He'll throw some cutters.
Sixth pitch that he's thrown is upstairs. So that's a 1-2 count to Evan Longoria. Franklin Morales is warming in the Kansas City pen. Inside. I think one of the best pitching performances I saw of 2012, Luke Hochevar was at the Trop, matched up against David Price, and those guys went toe-to-toe for 8 innings. Hoch with, I believe it was 8 shutout innings, and he had that cutter working brilliantly.
I remember that. That was a heck of a game.
That's a called strike 3, and Longoria immediately knew it.
Oh man, get the paintbrush out, as that is on the black of the plate. Beautiful pitch. That's exactly where he wanted it. After throwing him inside, backing him off the plate, Longoria knew it. He had to go.
His last 3 outings have been perfect. Comes back from that Tommy John surgery, and they say the last thing usually is the consistency, the ability to repeat your delivery and pitch. Royals got 5 from starter Edinson Volquez. He gave up 1, left with a tie score. Finnegan has given the Royals an inning and a third of shutout baseball, and now Hoch trying to shut them out in the 8th. James Loney has walked twice. Hoch mainly fastball curve with that cut fastball, but occasionally he'll throw a changeup. As a reliever, he doesn't need it.
No, he's not facing the guys multiple times. 1 time through, 2 pitches, really 3. Max.
Hosmer. 2 outs. Fox Sports Kansas City invites you to join current and former Royals players on the field August 31st for Diamond of Dreams. Enjoy a menu from local restaurants, live music from the American authors, and a fireworks show, all for charity. Buy tickets now at royals.com/Diamond of Dreams. That was originally scheduled for July 23rd, but we had to move it to August 31st because of the rain out in St. Louis, and the Cardinals selected that date for us to return.
Sure is a lot of fun here. You can
it's fantastic and great food too.
Yeah, walk around on the field, the different booths, food they have.
The players want to be there too. Royals don't have many days off in the second half because of all the rainouts they've experienced in the first half, and tonight is the midway point. Tonight's game 81. Forsythe 1 for 3. Good breaking ball right on the outside corner, razor sharp.
Tim Timmons, home plate umpire, doing a nice job tonight. Both sides consistent. He's been giving corners.
call that a jelly legger.
That's a beauty.
Coming up with the fastball. That's one of the things Coach likes about coming out of the bullpen. He can be aggressive immediately.
If you go pedal to the metal, you don't have to worry about pacing himself over 6-7 innings.
Blows him away with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Vintage Hoach. And the Royals hold a 5-1 lead.
Gotta believe Hoach is back. Three-headed monster at the end of the pin. With Hoach, it's a four-headed monster.
Let's go with Yellowwood bringing the lumber with Chesler Cuthbert.
How about it? You better believe it, Viz. He's been doing it. Got his first big league hit in game one, and now he's got him another hit in this one. And he's made a couple of nice defensive plays.
And he scored on that 3-run double by his teammate Alcides Escobar that broke the 1-1 tie in the 6th inning. A shot to the third baseman Longoria. He will throw out Cuthbert, 1 down to open the bottom of the 8th inning. Now Colomé will face Gerard Dyson, who has 2 walks in this game, Rex, and that last one to load the bases set the stage for Escobar, but he fouled off some tough pitches when their reliever threw him up in the zone. Gomes kept on going after him up in the strike zone with a fastball. Now he rolls one up the middle, and Dyson is on again for the 3rd time.
Yeah, no, he wants some more playing time. There's no question about that. And in the production business, this is how you're paid, and this is how you get in there. He's doing it. He's with Lorenzo Cain out, and Ed Yost can say, wow, you know what? Let's leave Lo Cain down for another day or two. Continue to ride the hot Dyson, staying on top of the ball, what he's been doing so well. And he's made some great adjustments. Pitchers try to get him up and to pop the ball up because he's such a speed guy. They don't want him to hit ground balls. So he's adjusting, hitting the top of the ball. Like what I'm seeing out of Dyson. Glad to see his legs are all 100%. And there's really no need to steal a base right here, but just that fact that he's over there is going to give Escobar hopefully some good fastballs to hit.
Escobar, the offensive star of the night, That bases clearing double in the 6th. That scored 3. Infante, Cuthbert, and Dyson. Well, they think he might be going. Colomé, we told you, was scheduled to start yesterday, and they thought that might be his final start, as Jake Odorizzi is expected to come off the disabled list soon. There's a base hit. Glances off the glove of Loney. Dyson's not waiting around. He goes all the way to third.
Stay hot, Alcides. Nice, good hit in there. I mean, Loney's a very good fielding first baseman, and that ball skipped on him. The grass is wet, and he couldn't keep it in his glove. Dyson's able to make that read and hit to third with no problem. Royals continuing to pressure.
Alex Gordon with back-to-back 3-hit games. Now the question begs to be asked, what is the Royals record for most hits in a doubleheader?
The record? I don't know, but probably George Brett.
It's a very good guess. I know Bob Oliver got 6 hits in a game back in the early 70s. Well, George had 7 along with Gerald Perry in 1990, and how about that? They did it 1 month apart. Go get greedy and tie him, Gordo. That will get out of play.
Alex backswing cut Caselli. That didn't feel so hot. Let's take a look at the backswing. Oh man. Oh yeah, that's a bell ringer for sure. Like it caught some of the mask, didn't get the helmet, but oh man.
Give him a little more time. He does have that long finish.
Yeah, and he has that one-hand takeoff method where, you know, he'll wrap around with the one hand on the bat.
Bounces in the front of the plate. Caselli with a nice block. So the count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dyson at third, and with 1 out, an RBI opportunity for Alex, who has 37 on the year. Two balls, 2 strikes. I was reading where Alex's brother Derek is at Idaho Falls, and he struck out 7 in 5 2/3 innings yesterday. So congratulations to the Gordon family. It's very proud of his brother Derek, who played college baseball here in the Kansas City area and then played independent ball last year, signed by the Royals. To left field. Butler is back. Over his head, and Alex has tied the record. 7 hits in a doubleheader.
Have a week. Wow, that's what you can do. You get hot in a little 2-game doubleheader in 1 day. Oh man, the numbers. Alex Gordon, this is a bolt to left field. Hit the base of the wall in the fly. Joey Butler, nice job of trying to catch that ball. I mean, he got back on it, but there's just no chance. Colomé let that ball go, and Alex went with it again. This is one of the reasons why Alex is excelling. He's not trying to pull him. He's just waiting a couple clicks longer and going to the opposite field, mixed in with all the walks he's been getting. So he's really seeing the ball.
So the Royals really breaking this open. Now lead it 7-1, and here's Morales. Now technically, Rex, Alex has not tied the record because this is not technically a doubleheader. It's a split doubleheader, but it's still 7 hits in one day.
Better believe it.
And he has 4 RBIs tonight, 39 for the year.
Oh, you know what? It's just nice to see the contribution of Lorenzo Cain's teammates. You know, Lorenzo Cain, he's been carrying the load the last week.
No Cain, no Moustakas.
Right, and they're finding ways. I talked about it a couple of nights ago. What you do when you're missing some of your players is someone else steps up.
Colomé looks to third. He'll throw to first and get Morales there. The Royals trailed 1-0 going to the bottom of the 5th. They scored a run in the 5th, scored 4 times in the 6th, and 2 so far in the 8th. Now Eric Hosmer, 1 for 9 on this split doubleheader. Tries to drop one to left. Butler coming on, makes the catch. Gordon comes through with a 1-out double that plates Dyson and Escobar. The Royals now head to the 9th, leading by 6. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be
disseminated
without the express written consent of the Royals. Well, it has been a wonderful day for KC, winning game 1 9-5 on a walk-off on a Paulo Orlando grand slam, and then leading 7-1 here in the top of the 9th inning with Ryan Madsen with a sparkling 1.65 ERA coming out of the bullpen.
You know, and I talked about Luke Hochevar making it a 4-headed monster, and I have to say that Ned Yost has a lot of monsters in his bullpen, including this guy right here, Ryan Madsen. He's done a heck of a job. Look what the opponents are hitting, just 161. ERA 1.65. They keep getting it good.
I remember when he came up and was having success early in April. You called him Madsen the Mauler. I'm going, you can't call him that. He's too nice a guy. He's not a mauler.
Between the lines, he is. You see that fastball 95 and that changeup.
But come up with another nickname, Mad Dog or something like that.
That's what they called him before, and he told me he didn't like it.
Well, because he's a nice guy.
No, it's because there's only one Mad Dog.
Okay.
He's going into the Hall.
But the Mauler's not. I don't like that one.
That's okay. It's all up to him. He likes it. He's good.
He did. So he told you he liked Mauler.
He did.
Really?
He said his family likes it. They all listen. He misses all of them. Big time family man.
We had a chance to meet his father-in-law during the dad's trip. Look at that fastball. Now that showed great life as well and great command. And Ryan told me early in the season he could not command this pitch, and then he said he just felt it, and then boom, he locked in on it.
That's a cutter, and his four-seam fastball is going to get to 95, and then he has that excellent changeup that he uses. So he's technically using 3 pitches, kind of like Wade Davis.
Cabrera pops it up left side. Escobar will take care of it. 1 out.
Jam shot.
And I'm sure you've all heard the story about Ryan Madsen. Hadn't pitched in the big league since 2011, had some arm problems, but he was teaching high school players how to pitch, and the high school players were saying, Mr. Madsen, Mr. Mauler, you're really, really good. And so he hooked up with Jim Fregosi Jr., who's one of the Royals' top scouts. Here's a ground ball short. 2 out. And Fregosi, who is a terrific scout, he got together with Ryan, watched him pitch, called Dayton Moore and said, you might want to invite this guy to spring training. And I think it's worked out pretty well.
Certainly has so far. Ned Yost and Dayton Moore, they have a bunch of tremendous scouts that work all over this country and Latin America. They are looking for players all the time to continue to bring them up here and perform like they have.
Dayton Moore does not want to be just a flash in the pan. He wants to be great every year. Kevin Kiermaier, the batter, and he takes a strike. It's an 0-2 count.
You continue to develop from within. That's the strength and the nuts and bolts of your organization, and you keep feeding those players up here. Chesler Cuthbert, Paulo Orlando, guys like that, products of their system.
Consistency and competitive every year. Orlando was the star in game 1, a walk-off grand slam. Gordon has starred in both games, 7 hits in this split doubleheader. Kiermaier lines out, game over. Crown this one just another Royal victory.
There it is. They got the nightcap as well. Outstanding job. Alex Gordon, have a week in 1 day.
Not a bad Tuesday.
Oh my, way to go. Good pitching, great bullpen, timely hits. Escobar got it all going with that nice bases clearing double, bases loaded.
Gordon had 3 hits in game 1 and then 4 in game 2. This was his 4th, the double.
Oh, and I mean, it was driven, facing the wall. It almost stuck in the wall right there. He had a lot on it.
And Alex Gordon, after a 7-hit day, is with our Joel Goldberg.
All right, Fizz, thank you very much. Nice day at the office for Alex Gordon. 7 for 9, 6 RBI. Most importantly, a sweep. It's a lot of hours here at the yard, but how big to be able to come up with 2 wins?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's a long day, but it feels a lot shorter when you come out with 2 W's. So we grinded away, found ways to come back in both games, and finish it off with 2-0. So it was a good long day.
You know, you had the big numbers on the day, but I want to ask you about your fellow All-Star Alcides Escobar down 0-2, bases loaded, an 11-pitch double. How good of an at-bat was that?
Yeah, it was amazing. I was watching it from on deck. He was spit on some good pitches, fouling off some good pitches, and to finally come through with.
Well, I think that's in Alex's right ear. Ice? You get some ice in the ear?
Ice cube, ice cube.
He always, how does he avoid it and everybody else gets it?
Who, Salvi?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to get him next time he comes out here. I'll get him for sure next time.
You've got 4 All-Stars that are starting, 6 overall, playing in front of huge crowds. How much have things changed for you, having been here so long, Hochaver, guys that have been through the tough times?
Yeah, it's just all about winning. Winning's brought attention and recognition, and great fans here. They've been coming out supporting us, and 4 All-Stars from the fan vote. I mean, it's awesome. We still have Moustakas, so, and I'll get out and vote for Moose, so let's get 7.
There you go. You can get online and text A5, vote for Moose, and make it 7. 7 hits for Alex Gordon tonight. Great job.
Right, cool, thank you.
All right, Alex Gordon, one of the many stars of this one. Well, guys, he couldn't dodge that Gatorade bucket, and I think I took about half of it, too. All well with a pair of wins.
Pretty outstanding. The mischievous one, Salvador Perez. The Royals with a delightful Tuesday in a sweep of Tampa Bay.